Blessings, everybody. I'm Donnell Barnett. I'm a licensed psychologist and minister, and I wanted to hop in on this conversation about bonnets and durags. For those of you that are not aware, Tuskegee University came out with a policy that effectively banned bonnets and durags, if not on campus, certainly in the classroom space. And a lot of people who have been talking about this have really sort of centered the conversation in a reaction to whiteness, or in some cases, framing it as a part of this respectability politics conversation. And that argument certainly has some merit. But I do want to offer a different perspective. When you think about people of African ascent or African descent, however you want to frame it, we come from a tradition where clothing means something, where the beautiful colors and the style of dress and the type of dress, it was rooted in history, it was rooted in culture and tradition, in intentionality, even names, the names that we gave to people in an African reality, it meant something. It called a future orientation to the child that's in front of you. Most things that happen in the culture were intentional. When you put the conversation as a reaction to whiteness, you kind of play into the hands of whiteness by doing so, because it ignores our history prior to 1619, prior to the 400 years or so that we have been on these shores, and erases the thousands of years of history and tradition. What I think is really happening here is really a reaction to a Western society that increasingly says you are allowed to define your own reality. Be who you want to be, call yourself whatever you want to call yourself, do what you want to do. It is highly individualistic, Western society is. And that, in my opinion, is bumping up against a black reality that says we don't do that. This notion that we have certain expectations and standards that's rooted in our cultural and collective destiny. One individualistic, one collectivistic, and I think those two things are bumping up against each other. We should not be surprised that an HBCU, an historically black college and university, of which I am a grad of an HBCU, we should not be surprised that on an HBCU campus, people are saying there are expectations here because we don't do that. And HBCU is known for taking our children into their warm embrace and giving them expectations, giving them standards, and helping them to see something bigger than themselves. That is part and parcel of the HBCU experience. So I think rooting this conversation in respectability politics or a reaction to whiteness is a bit short sighted. And I just want to ask that we reach deeper into our culture, into our history, and think more intentionally about how what our ancestors gave to us, how that shapes us now.